Hi, this is Belinda, your Maryland realtor, and today I am going to talk to you about real estate investment. So, this is kind of part two of what we started last week. We talk about real estate investment 101, and now let's talk about where are the best area to invest when it comes to real estate. So you will have to my general guidance would be to look at areas where houses are selling the fastest, and then areas that are growing the most. And especially when you're an investor, depending on what strategy that you decide to use, whether it's to buy and hold, which is basically to become a landlord, buy those property and then rent them out, or in long term, or if you want to do a short-term rental such as Airbnb, Verbo, VRBO, vacation rental by owner. So you need to basically define what you really want to do, or if you are just trying to purchase a house and sell it, just buy it and flipping it, or rehabbing it and selling it. So you have to know which strategy that you want to deploy. But regardless of the strategy, it's best to find an area that is where the houses are selling on are selling fast, in an area that is improving, an area that appraises at a much higher rate than others, so that you know that at least that you're making a good investment, that your investment, since you're diversifying your investment portfolio, that your real estate investment will actually bring you money instead of drain money down the line. So look at this area, and of course, if you are familiar with the area, it's better, because you can look at different properties that have sold and in what condition that they were. You can look at basically kind of the trend in the area, because especially as an investor, you want to purchase as in the lowest possible cost, and then try also to find a good contractor who can basically do a good job renovating the property, but at a much lower cost, so that it brings you some money down the line. Because the last thing that you want to do is to buy a property high, and then depending on the market, and then the market crashes, and then you ended up renovating that property to a standard, especially when you are renting the property to a higher standard, and then your rent cost does not your basically your cash flow as you're renting it out does not really give you a positive cash flow, or you end up losing money on the long you end up losing money on the basically on a monthly basis. So you have to look at, well, you have to be familiar with what's going on in that area, and what houses look like in that area, and how the inside looks like. And as I always say that when you are, whether you're a landlord, when you're a landlord, you should try to make the house as beautiful as if you were living in it. But also you have to be cognizant that people will not take care of your home the way that you would. So there is a fine line in that. So looking at ways to improve the property, but at not so much higher cost that will not render you a positive cash flow each month. Because the positive cash flow that you should really aim at looking for is probably $1,000 on a monthly basis. So if you buy a property and then you fix it up, and especially with a hard money lender, because I talked about a hard money lender, you will probably, what you'll probably have to do, because hard money lenders have an interest rate that's pretty much, I wouldn't say outrageous, because the interest rate that they charge, which is probably 20 to 24%, it's not outrageous when you compare it to the credit card company interest that they give you. So you will probably have to borrow for the first time, as you are buying the home. You basically borrow money from a hard money lender, and you rehab that property. Hopefully you have a little bit of cash lying around, or if you don't, you can even basically pull some fund from different investor where you can use it as a rehab cost to rehab the property. And after you rehab the property, then you can refinance it. And then as you are refinancing, so basically you paying off your hard money lender who has a very high interest rate, and then you go into a private lender who would basically give you a much lower rate, because usually they will give probably 1 point above what's on the regular market for the traditional home buyer. So if the traditional home buyer pays right now it's at 7%. So your private lender, since you are an investor, will probably give you a rate at 8%, which is not too bad. But you can take that and factor your rent, and then also factor your positive cash flow, and also factor the money that you have to pay for a property management company, because that's what I advise to my clients, to have a property management company to take care of all the headaches of all the turmoil that tenant bring in, when they, so that they don't have to call you at 2 o'clock in the morning telling you that the toilet is clogged or that the basement is flooding, and so on and so forth. So you delegate that responsibility to a property manager who will basically take care of that, and that property manager, so you will basically pay them. So I mean, on average, it would depend on the area where you are, so you will pay them, and then just factor that you probably should bring between $500 to $1,000 positive cash flow that you're bringing every month. That's for a single family house, and that's in a neighborhood. I wouldn't say one of those prettiest neighborhood. I'll probably say a neighborhood that is safe, friendly, but not upscale. So you can start there. You can start working in those type of neighborhood, and then thinking about 500, but I will aim for being on the safe side of $1,000 cash flow every month. So if you have that, but then again, it's something that you have to basically think through. And then if it's an area where you're not there physically, whether it's in the same state that you're living in but it's in a different county, or it's in a different state, you have to be somewhat familiar or hire a real estate agent. Like I told you last time, is to make sure that you hire a real estate agent who is investor friendly. So you can talk to that real estate agent and ask the real estate agent to find you deals in areas where the areas that fit your criteria. Areas where, let's say, if your aim is to rent houses to, let's say, college students, so you will have to look somewhere close by to college campuses, probably one of the best college campuses, so that you can find a house there and then renovate it and then rehab it, and then basically rent it out to the different college student. Or if your aim is to rent to, let's say, young adults or young professionals, so most likely you will look into that in areas where probably the suburb area, in the burb, because that's where more young adults or maybe young families are, so that they can look for houses for you in those areas, and try to buy, probably the worst house in the best neighborhood in that area at a very low cost, and you factor in your rehab cost and contractor and all these other fees that are included, and also you factor the fact that you want to have X amount of cash flow, positive cash flow, after you have paid your mortgage company, after you have paid your property management company that you want to have a desire X amount of cash flow, positive cash flow each month. So make sure that you find the area, because I mean, in real estate, that's the rule: location, location, and location. Location is key, because the last thing that you want to do, you do not want to purchase a home or finding a home that is in a nice area or in an area that you deem seem to fit your criteria, but you find out that the HOA does not allow for you to rent the properties, because there's actually one property in the area where I live. The HOA does not allow people to rent out. So there was this great property. It was a waterfront property that a client saw, that one person saw and decided to buy that property. And little did he or she or they know that the HOA did not allow for, because they wanted to purchase it and then have it as a short-term rental, to have it as Airbnb, because the area was really great. The area is really great, and it has the view of the bay. So, but after buying it, the HOA told them that, well, you can have it as an Airbnb. So they ended up selling it back. So as soon as they bought it, so they just sold it. But anyway, you need to have an agent. You need to have a real estate agent who's very familiar with the area, is very familiar also with the HOA and everything that regulates that, so that you can have your positive cash flow each month and build your real estate empire. So hopefully that's been very helpful to you. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. And please let me know also the different things that I'm going that you wish that I talked to you about. And actually, I am going to start talking about foreign investment. When it comes to real estate and how you can use that. Actually, you can leverage real estate for as a foreign investment, especially to have an investor visa. So stay tuned. I'll be talking about that within the next few weeks. Hi, this is Belinda. I'm your Maryland realtor, and I help people build generational wealth with real estate. Talk to you later.